Inspired by sound.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is so nice to be back. I've been gone for over a week. I was in Berlin at Native Instruments HQ, and I had the best week I've ever had, or at least I've had in a very, very long time. I've come back, and this video is, if you've seen the title, all about native expansions, of which I have a great deal of them, and I'm going to talk to you about some of them in this, well, I don't know how long the video is going to be. You'll know before I do, because I'm sitting here making it as it happens. So, let's do this, because there's just a lot to cover, and I've already gone through and set up some of my favorites. I'm not going to show you every kit, that will take years, but I will talk about things I like, and we'll make this thing a happening thing. Oh, actually, I filtered by favorites on the wrong track, so let me filter by favorites on the right track. That's a good start to the video. Okay, here we go. Well, I should also take this time to thank a few new patrons, namely Matthew Cooper, Nick Janak, Ilka Pertima, and Muramura Allah, or Allura, or something. I don't quite know how you pronounce that, because if I don't do it now and I get to the end of the video, I will not do it because I forget. I'm a very forgetful individual, without meaning to be, so let's get that out of the way now. Okay, well, native expansions, lots of fun, and they are kits for battery and machiner, and sometimes massive, monarch, and reactor prism. So I'm going to be focusing on a couple for battery. I say a couple, I mean a lot. And I've gone through every expansion I have, including the very newest, which is Global Shake, and I've favorited my favorites. Of course, I'm going to turn off favorites at some point and go through them again and find more. But in the first, go through, look at, these are the ones I've come up with. So I have this track, as I usually do, which is very, very minimal. It's quite fun, though. You heard it in the beginning. I also have a solo track here. This is just for the sake of it. So I only have that there as a playover track. It's fun, and I made this during a workshop that I was giving at NI last week, and so I kept it around because I thought it was quite funky and fun to jam over. But we're not focusing on that today. Let's go to the first percussion track, because I'm going to go through the expansions in order, from top to bottom, or bottom to top really, starting with Arcane Attic. But let me show you what makes up this track, just because it's cute and small. So let me tell you that the first thing is percussion, and it is a preset called Marble Rims Percussion Kit 2, and you need the metronome one for this so you can follow along in your book. It's just tambourine and small noises. And that's what that basically does. So it doesn't do a great deal, but it is cool and necessary. Okay, so I'll unpause that. This is on loop, by the way. Percussion 2 is, let's also see, Drop Squad. And it is cellophane kit. So it does all these small things like layering, because layering is fun, right? We all like layering or making drums and all that sort of thing. So of course I'm going to be coming back to a lot of these kits soon, but before I do that, I just want to show you what this was all about. So let me unsolo that. Drums 1 has a bass in it, and that's why there's a piano track higher up that follows along with this one E-flat hit. Now I could have chosen an E-flat major, but I didn't. It didn't feel right, so I've chosen E-flat minor, just play a chord, B-flat minor. So this is a Radiant Horizon, the bank, and the drum kit is Kiss Kit. So it's quite simple. I'll turn off the metronome for that. Doesn't need to be on in this case. Drums 2, we'll put the metronome back on. This is fun too. And this one is also Radiant Horizon, but this kit is also, oh, it's also Kiss Kit. Okay, so I liked more sounds from that I could play with two hands on this, so I've just got a few different things going on there. So it's quite a minimal piece, as you see, and when you put it all back together, oh yes, and there's this piano. It just hits quite hard and stabby. And for the curious, this is an Analog Lav 3 piano from Upright Piano, and the preset is called Piano Bayou 3? I don't know how you say that. But I got access to Analog Lab 3 quite recently via Jason in Australia, his freelance Sound Labs website, which I will probably have linked to in the description, being a good boy that I am. And I just made this piano very harsh. So that is that. Now, oh yes, I should tell you about the quick solo track too. It's massive. No, it's not. It's Hybrid 3. And it's called 83 Cutty Sk Led, which I'm guessing is sort of a Cutty Sark type lead. Okay, great. So now, let's talk about some favorite kits. This was just a sort of teaser track to show you what you might do with some of this stuff. So let me take you through some of the funness in some of these expansions here. So we're going to start with Arcanatic. But before we do that, let me tell you the names of these that I have. So the first is Arcanatic, as I say. Then comes the Battery for Factory Library, which is not an expansion. Black Arc, Byte Riot, Caribbean Current, Drop Squad, Electric Vice, Global Shake, London Grit, Marble Rims, Radiant Horizons. Is that the last of them? Yes, I guess it is. So there's a lot there. And I don't know how many favorites I have favorited. Lots, I should think. But we're going to start with this first kit, which I quite like. Now, the interesting thing about the layout of this is that I've got my keyboard shifted up by 1 octave. I'm using an S61, as I usually am. And below and above, where the drums end, the first or last sound is mirrored. So here, all the way down, is this one hit now. So when we go up from here, we get things like this. That's a Slinky, I'm pretty sure, in a box. So usually when we get to E flat above the C2, so we'll call it E flat 3, I guess, so that makes 16, because these all came from Machina initially. You find that the kits usually stop. Some of them do go further, but in most cases not. So all this sound is just mirrored the length of the keyboard. So that's what that kit does. Now, interestingly enough, the way that these are laid out is quite cool, because the previews, what they call the pre here, when you turn the preset knob in the browser, is quite interesting and can give you some really good ideas too. And I think some of these are just as good as the audio demos online, if not better, that you hear when you go and try to buy one of these things. And by the way, because this track is not really relevant to the discussion, even though I opened up with it, I'm not going to link to each and every native expansion that I've used here. I will link to the general overview page of them, and you can see yourself, because it doesn't matter in this case. I want you to see all of them for yourself so that you're not biased by my selections. So when you get to the description and you get that far, they won't be linked. But that is by design, not out of laziness. So the preview for this kit does all that. So there's some quite cool noises in there, enough to sort of entice you and inspire you into playing with it, I think. Right, so I'm going to go down one kit now. Arcanatic SFX kit. I may not have favorited a lot from this particular thing so far, but it doesn't mean I won't go back through it, of course, with a fine-tooth comb. And what you're going to find, by the way, is that with some of these demos that I'm going to show you, just by turning the preview knob, is that some of them use things outside of the kit. And that is by design as well. It's so that you can sort of hear it in situ. And I think it's a really great way of working. The next is Follow Me kit. There's some fun going on there for sure. So, some of the things in Follow Me kit, noises like these. So there we go, that's that one. What's next? Little Attack kit. Preview does this. I quite like that preview. This is like a normal drum kit now. And I think that in this particular instance, the preview was indeed everything that you could play on the kit. So that's me playing it. And the next one, if there is a next one, yeah, there is. Metal Kids Kit. I like that. And the preview for that. I like that. That's not normal 4/4. You've got a kind of 6/8 vibe going on there, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. What's this then? Monsters Kit. Okay, short preview in this case. So what kind of drums do we have in here? Some great stuff for sound design. So to start off a piece like that is quite fun. There's a C sharp here, then the D, then the E flat. So if I hit the C sharp and then into a beat, you can do things like... I got to hit it before. Cool, I really like that. And because I've gone through these probably only once since last week, and I mean once, finding out all this new stuff for me is just as fun the second time round as it is hopefully for you as well. Strings attached distorted kit. I like that because there are these kind of 8-bit sounding chords. See all these possibilities here. So there are 16. So C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat. So you can just sort of play anything in any order and pretty much get something cool out of it. Now what you'll find is that they're all in the same mute group, which means that they won't re-trigger. And also when you play the same sound, it's like an old sort of Super NES sounding thing where the repeat actually re-triggers the sample. It doesn't play a second time. A bit like the old Roland SC55 drum kits when you'd play a cymbal and it would actually re-trigger instead of playing on a separate channel. So you can just sort of do this kind of old school sample based sounding thing as if there is only one sample channel available and you have to share it all. I mean, anything I hit in any order just sounds epic on this drum kit, which is fantastic. You just can't go wrong with those kind of chords. I like them. I like that a great deal. And if I run that through some kind of mad effect like Replica XT or Waves H delay or anything like that, it's cool. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this kit, and I think you will too, should you hear it. The Cell Kit is this preview. That's kind of cool on lo-fi. But what they've done is, have they modified it? I'm not really sure exactly. And this is the thing, because some of the previews are not exactly what the kit sounds like, a bit like old keyboard demos, which is fine by me, by the way. It gives you some sort of other ideas that you can do with things. Look, we're taking so long on one expansion, but hey, it's alright. Voice of the Lost Kit. So you get all these sort of reversey, freaky noises at the moment. Oh dear. That's quite a lot of freak there. So here are the Voices of the Lost. Sounds like something that should be an ominous face, shouldn't it, really? Alright, and that's the last one in that particular expansion. So we now move on to Black Ark, which I bought over the weekend. It's sort of a reggae, Caribbean reggae kind of kit and expansion. There are some fantastic things in this, so let me show you. Armen's Step Kit is the first preview that I show you. I mean, I could just show you only the previews and not play any of them, but that would be boring, and I might do that for some of them, not all of them, because otherwise this video will get exceptionally long, exceptionally quickly. But until that time, some lovely sax riffs and talky things and bass things. So the kind of thing you might want to do with this, I'm going to turn the mic down for this and have a play and see what I might come up with if I was going to start writing a piece. kind of hard to play actually in some ways, because the spread of this stuff is very weird. This and that is not next to each other. This is on E flat and that's on G, so I have to really concentrate on what goes where and how. And then the saxophone stuff is A and B, so yeah, you're gonna have to really think. Fun though. So yeah, inspiration comes in many forms with these kits, and I really, really like that. I don't feel stymied by any of these kits necessarily, unless it's like a full bass drum kit or a full snare kit. Although some of those, of course, have sounds that are not in any of the presets to entice you into using them, so you kind of have to in some respects, and that's okay too. Black Spark Kit is the next one we come to. I really do like some of these previews. They are really enticing, and I'm really glad that they gave such options. So to actually play this, what kind of things are in here? What you find with most of these expansions, by the way, is that there are two bass drums, usually on the C2, of course, and the C sharp 2. I nearly said C hash like a complete tool. And then you have D, E flat, E, and so on, where things should be. But because the layouts don't have to conform to anything really, there's no reason for them to keep them in the way that you would be expecting to be finding drum kits, and so they're not necessarily. And sometimes as well, I like to play the kit before I've heard the preview or before I remember the preview. And then you kind of don't get, I don't know, influenced, that's the word I'm thinking of, by what that is going to be. So in this case of this next kit, which is called Bon Agent Kit, or Bon Agent, I guess. Let's see what I can come up with before we hear the preview, because I want to know. As an example, this kit actually is nice and hard to play, but I like a challenge. But I don't remember the preview for that, because as I say, there are too many expansions and too many previews. So here's what they did with it. Slower than I was playing it. That's okay too though. This next kit, Cool Pressure Kit. See, they've put the organ and two organ stabs next to each other on the C and the E, C sharp, so that's kind of cool. And you've got a couple bass things as well. So what can I do with this? But you know where you have to play that? You have to play it on the and it's really hard. I like it though. I've got to really think different with that. There's this guitar thing and the flute thing though, so I can play just that. But it doesn't change. Oh, the change is actually okay. So there's a pattern here I'm seeing. This also is changed on the E flat and the G. So maybe when you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I suppose if that's the case, then pad 4 on the Machina kit, because it's 4x4, so 16 pads. This would be on the right hand side, and then this would be above it on pad 8. So I guess there is a rhyme and reason to all this if I just think about it. Okay, so I have to really think about a new layout and learning a new layout. That's fine, I can and will. I just have to get used to the way that these designers were thinking when they did what they did. Okay, I never thought of that. So that's up there, so I've got to go... I've got to play that with that hand, or cross over, okay. Yeah. Okay, that's a lot harder than it may seem. Good though, it's fun, good challenge. Okay. Their preview, they've got stuff that's panned out and stuff. It's very fun. Right, I've realized that I talk a lot, far too much, so I'm going to show you some of these previews and we'll try and play the more quote-unquote interesting sounding kits. Otherwise, I literally will be here for 3 hours. Not because I don't want to show you everything, but because I think really, when you start hearing things like this, you need to go off and buy some yourself and go, hey, I like that. So, I won't spoil everything for you, but I will just quickly spin through some of these and talk at the same time. I will say that last week was fantastic. I got to meet so many new people, look at all sorts of fun new things that I will not and cannot talk about. But I also did apply for a job at Native Instruments, by the way. It's a marketing job. So please, if you do that sort of thing, cross your fingers and your toes for me, because I really, really want this job. I want to be able to go and sell people things like I do to you on videos and make you buy things and go away going, why did I watch that? Now I have to buy 5,000 new things I didn't even know I wanted or didn't really care to buy. Because I think I'm the consummate salesman, really. I think I could sell a tree to a forest, which is a very strange statement, but, you know, most people involve grandmothers. I don't. I could sell a tree to a forest, and I'm proud of that. If I was to work in Curry's or PC World, I would have been making millions, but I'd rather not. I'd rather sell things I actually care about, and that is music equipment. So, yeah, I did have a fantastic week, and I hope to go back to Berlin again soon. I also had my first taste of Vietnamese food, and let me tell you, there was some fantastic Vietnamese food in Berlin. I went to this place, by the way, which I will recommend, called Umami, and I had the same meal there 3 times in a week. 3 times. Whoever goes away to a far-flung country and does that? Yeah, I do. Okay, well, we've moved on from Black Ark to Riot. And apparently only have one kit favorited here, which means that I can't play the preview without turning favorites off and back on again. So Circuits kit does this. It's not that I don't like any of these other kits, by the way, because I do. I'm just going to quickly turn through some of these. And Alfie, if you're listening, I think you'd like a lot of these. These are sort of cool circuit bent 8-bit type kits. And there are some very great fun things. I like that, for example. Why didn't I favorite that? Well, while I'm at it, I'll do that now. Final Boss kit. Yeah, we like that too. But I did. I had a really good time. I basically usurped what they call their jam room in a place called Native Spaces. And in the jam room is a bunch of equipment. There was a complete Control S49 Mark II. And there was a complete Audio 6 sound card, and there were some nice monitors, but I took my S61 with me, the Mark II, not the Mark I that you see in all my videos. I have a Mark II upstairs. And when I was there, I set that up. I took my sound card and my laptop, and I basically sat in that room and did demos of things. Because for those of you who didn't know, I was the first blind person in the world to actually mess with this stuff from a blind person's perspective, accessibility-wise, and that's why I went out there. They wanted to get my take on some things and how I use it on a day-to-day basis. And I said, well, follow me on YouTube and find out. And now you know. And hello to all the native people, by the way, that did follow me last week. Thank you for your patronage. Speaking of patronage, of course, I am on Patreon as well, at patreon.com/onjmusic, which is the same as my Twitter, twitter.com/onjmusic, and you can find lots of musicy things there. And I can say quite safely, by the way, that you're going to be hearing a lot more from all these expansions on new tracks, because they're exactly what I want. This is called Nintendo Kit, and I'm playing it because it does things like that. And I remember this kit being quite fun, and I don't know why I didn't favorite it, so of course I'm going to rectify that while I remember to do so. Yes, Bite Ride is coming to an end, so let me switch to Caribbean Current. Now, did I favorite more than one in this kit? Yes, a Bearcatchy Loco kit, which I can't pronounce. That's a fun preview. All sorts of different genres in all of these presets and expansions, and that's why I like these as well. Great ideas, and quite inspirational for some of these things. So tell me in the comments if, by the way, you are a complete owner or a machine owner and you're thinking of buying some expansions, because at the time of posting this video, which by the way I have to tell you is the 26th of June 2018, I almost said 16, I don't know why, it's not that far back in the past. There is currently a sale going on. If you buy two expansions, the second one is 20% off. I don't know how long that's going to last, so if you're watching this a few weeks or a few months or even years after this fact, you probably missed it. Bad boy kit, that last one. So these kind of drums, yeah, if I'm going through pre-hears and I hear this sort of thing, it's going to make me want to load the kit and see what it's all about. My keyboard is noisy. Let's turn the mic down. That's why I like doing these sort of things. There we go. Black Lion. Small previews now. I realize that I get running and these videos get hours and hours long without meaning to. So I'm trying to cut down on that and give you all the relevant information in a timely manner. I can also say, by the way, that I have some very exciting new content coming up on the channel very soon. As soon as I find the thing or the person that I need to help me produce it. So stay tuned for that. Oh, what's that now? It's an accordion. Okay. And of course, you could play along to the previews when there's no drums in them like that. Just because. What does this kit actually do? It has things like that in it. Oh, there are the sounds they use for that. They're all in the same mute group again, so it means that anytime you play a sound and one is playing, it gets cut. So you can have your fake sampler again. Much fun. Global Village Kit. That's nice and upbeat, and there's just all sorts of stuff like this and that. Now the trouble with many kits, by the way, and anything, is that I know I had ideas for this exact kit because I remember it from the preview, but I didn't record it. And of course, that's what happens. You get busy and you don't record your things. So, you know, you can lose ideas if you're lazy like I am sometimes, and that's a pain in the bum. But if you can remember it, then great. But I like these bass drums, and I like the shaker for the hi-hat and this clap there. So yeah, ideas come thick and fast with kits like these. You just can't help yourself. That's a very strange horn there. So that's that. What is that kit? Hot sauce kit. That's the preview for that kit. I should also add, by the way, that you don't have to own a complete keyboard or a machine to use these. They come with the raw wave files that make up all of the kit elements, so you can use them in any DAW that you like. So don't feel like you're tied down to the complete ecosystem, because you are not. So if you hear things in any of these that you like in any given expansion, you can use them anywhere, which is great. So if you wanted to, you know, you could throw it in EXS24 or in Resample. I think that's the thing, the sampler in Reaper, or in SFZ, whatever you want to do, SFZ, and make your own kits up. So do it and enjoy. Oh yes, I remember liking this kit actually. That's why it's in my favorites, of course. But just because it's so like, it's called Paper Kit, and it's very, very minimal and strange and all mono. And yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with this. It's a bit unusual to play because it's like some things don't re-trigger, some things do re-trigger, and you have to sort of work out what's what. But I do like it. It's cool. And it has a really old school feel. Now I could run that through some happy distortion and get some very cool ideas from that, you see. So yeah. Let me see. Oh, I was wrong. It was called Prepare Kit. Not Paper Kit. Just plowing through some of these more of again. There are some really cool other things I want to show you. This is a sample of a steel pan only. I like it because it's sampled again. Everything's in one mute group. But of course I have great steel pans, incomplete and third-party stuff. And there's a voices kit. So there's all sorts of voicey things. And we're in Drop Squad now. By the way, all of these expansions are on a theme, and I can't remember what all of these themes actually mean or do, so you'd have to read about them on the page linked in the description, but they are geared towards a particular style of music, although you can use anything for anything, really. Like if you want, if you leave enough comments, I'll do a live stream of me making a project using just expansions. Or try to. And not many sounds, you know, not many melodic playable sounds. So if you want, I'll just put down a whole bunch of drum kits from different expansions just to show you what I might do with it. Now, when I heard this preset, I was immediately reminded of a friend of mine, James Berry. And if James, if you hear this, you'll know why I thought of you. That's a great preview, and I really like that preview. And this kit actually it's in my favorites, so of course I like it. But it's just got some really nice hits and things, and these sweeps like that. And some of them just go on forever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, some of these just. So they obviously took ideas from somewhere else because there's only that one, but of course the preview had more. If we listen to that preview. It's very cool what they did with that. I like it. So yeah, I guess this is kind of a dubstep expansion. There's a lot of fun noises in here. Really kind of deep and grungy beats for the previews here, and I like that. I really do like that idea. I kind of like the idea that someone sat down and thought of all these sounds to put into something that makes it easier for people like me to just jump on and use. And you know, and I combine them with all my mad melodic things that I have, of which I have a great deal. There's just so much that I can do with all this gear. And I like that. There's elements of Logic in that kit, by the way. There's a Logic dub kit which sounds kind of similar to this. And they probably took some ideas from it for this kit, which is fine too. But yeah, that's called Dub Roots Kit, Dungeon Kit. I like that. I get a sense of sort of stone, wet and damp, and an uninhabitable spot in the universe. Dust to Dust Kit. And see how long this video already is? I can't see the time, by the way. I just know it's long already. I can tell. I can feel it in my bones. If you're still here and watching at this point, I commend you, by the way. Thank you for coming this far. I hope that these have inspired you to get some things. It would be very interesting to see an expansion based on orchestral hits and slides and weird noises. There is nothing like that as far as I know, but I think someone should do it so that you have the samples of an orchestra tuning up and being bad and being very strange. I think it would be quite an interesting idea. Oh, there's Arfie. I like all those ARPs in that. That's lovely. That's really nice. Are they available to play, or are they sounds from external sources? There we go. One of the sounds is, which is cool. Oh, there's a bass noise, so you can kind of do things like that. But they've obviously taken ideas from other places and used them. And as I said before, when you buy an expansion, you don't just get them for one plugin. We're using Battery, of course, at the moment, because I'm looking at the drums in particular. But you find a lot of sounds come for Massive as well, and the raw wave files, as I've said. So, you know, you're not stuck in just one method. Yeah, good sounds here too. Propeller kit. I'm going to start plowing through some more of these quite quickly, just give you the first couple of seconds of each of these previews, because I really want to show, I want to get through all of my favorites this time round. And then, as I say, if you guys leave comments, I will happily do a live stream or even an inspired video where I make a track without knowing what's going to happen when I load Logic for the beginning time, and just make a track using some of these favorite drum kits only. And I will use nothing but drum kits. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you for a future inspired video, then I'll do it. Right, Electric Vice now. Again, in my favorites only. If I wasn't in favorites, this would even have taken 4 times as long. Most of these come with 50 kits, I think. Anywhere from, 5, 10 kits to I think 64 kits in some cases. So a lot of kits. And the previews are so good, I think they speak for themselves very nicely. Of course I like playing kits. I'm a drummer. I'm a MIDI drummer by trade and by self-professedness. But I like a lot of what they do. So, yeah. Showing you these. If you've bought any, I want to know about it. And maybe you'll buy something I didn't. If you can't remember what I bought, because I can't either, do look back and listen further back.